And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed. To you it shall be for food. Genesis 1:29. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. Psalm 78:25. Everyday Manna with Lisa.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Everyday Manna. On today's program, we're going to be making apple cupcakes. We're going to make steak sandwiches with caramelized onions, and we're going to be making Parmesan roasted French fries. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got our oven preheated to 350 degrees, and we're going to start with our cupcakes because they will take the longest to cook. Now in my bowl, I just have one boxed cake mix that is the spice cake mix that you can get at any grocery store out there, and I'm using the spice cake mix today. This is one of those recipes that you could substitute a white cake, a yellow cake mix, but I just like the spice because that's one of my favorite cakes, but it just adds that extra little bit of oomph to the apples that we're going to add, or the applesauce that we're going to add. So I just have one box cake mix. I have 1/3 of a cup of canola oil. I have got 1 cup of applesauce, just regular old applesauce. That's one of the reasons we can cut down a little bit on the oil, is that we're using applesauce. That's a good substitute. You really can put in a cake or a cupcake, we're going to make cupcakes today, but in any cake mix or cupcake mix, you can really substitute up to about half of your oil with your applesauce, and it cuts down on the fat and the calories, and it makes it moist and delicious. That's one of the secrets of good baking. And you can use a boxed cake mix, and it just does wonderfully. We're going to add 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar, just packed light brown sugar. If you only have the dark, that would be fine too. Doesn't matter. You could use the dark brown. We're going to add 3 eggs to our mixture. Just 3 large eggs to our mixture. We're going to beat this on medium speed for just a couple of minutes. Oh, well, I'll plug it up. Let me plug it up here. Just on medium speed for a couple of minutes until all of the till it's all mixed together. You want to add about 1/2 cup of water. Now we've added about 1/2 cup of water to our cake mix, and we're just going to incorporate that in. Beat it until it's just light and fluffy, and you don't see any clumps of the flour. And then I'm going to add about 1/4 of a cup of just chopped walnuts to that. All right, that's good. So let's take those out, put those over here, and we're going to take our muffin tin, and I'm going to line it with just regular little baking sheets that you can get anywhere. I love cupcakes because they're just easy and convenient, quick little snack to grab on the go. When you've got it in your pre-portioned out sizes, it's just easier. I tend to make a lot of cupcakes as opposed to cakes at my house. And I'm just going to spray it with just a little bit. I always, even though, the little paper things you peel off, I like to spray it with just a little bit of nonstick spray. And then we're going to fill them 3/4 of the way full with our cupcake mixture. Oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and we're going to bake them for about 15 minutes or so until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. That's a good way to test any baked product, is when that toothpick comes out clean, you know it's done. Or a skewer. Maybe you have some of those little wooden bamboo skewers that we use sometimes. anything like that. And a knife will work just fine too. Something. Just insert it when it comes out clean. Cupcakes cook very quickly. About 15 minutes should be plenty enough time. And on top of these, we're going to make a homemade cream cheese glaze, and it will be yummy. I've got my skillet preheating. Let me turn that down just a little bit. My grill pan for our wonderful steaks here. See it smoking over there. All righty. Now, we're going to get these in a 350-degree oven for about 15 minutes here. Now, we have preheated a grill pan on my stove right here, and it's very, very hot. As you can see, it's smoking. And I have one large skillet here. That's for our onions. So let's get started on our onions first, actually, because they're going to take, I don't like my steaks cooked to where they're just dry and no good. So they won't take that long to cook. So we're going to preheat this large skillet. I have 3 onions that I'm just going to slice. We're going to just slice these up, and we're going to saute them, and then we're going to add some glazed materials to it. And I'm a huge fan of steak sauce. Love it, and I love it mixed with butter. I like butter. If you're new to this program, you will see me use a lot of butter because I just think the taste is incomparable to anything else. It adds richness to any dish that you put it in. So we're going to add a little bit of butter and a little bit of steak sauce to these onions when they get caramelized. Now, these onions today are Vidalia onions because they had them in my store and I just love them. But feel free to substitute any kind of onion you like. You could use a red onion. You could use just regular yellow cooking onions or the white onions or maybe the Spanish onions or Maui onions. Whatever you like would be fine in this dish. But these are Vidalias because my store had them and I like them. They're just a treat that you don't get all the time. So when I can, I use them. So we're just going to slice these up. I always just cut them in half and then take the peel off, and then they're ready to go when you're ready to slice them. And here we go. Let's just slice them kind of thin. Now, onions, when you cook them, become sweet and they caramelize. The natural sugars in the onions come out and they just caramelize and they are delicious. And I love them. Like I'm going to cook them today, just caramelize these onions and put them over. And today we're going to make steak sandwiches, but if you had a hamburger or maybe you were eating a steak yourself, we're going to do sandwiches, anything like that. These onions would be yummy over anything like that. I love to caramelize onions and put them over grilled burgers in the summertime. It's just delicious. I really do like cooked onions a lot. And they're very, very, very healthy. That one's a little big. Let's cut him down a little bit. They're very healthy for you. They help to cleanse your blood and purify, and they've got full of just healthy things for you. Garlic and onions. I'm not using any garlic today, which is unusual for me. In this program, I use a lot of garlic and a lot of onions. That's okay. That's the basis for a lot of good meals, isn't it? This is one of those things that you can cook year-round. If it's in the summer and you're grilling outside, or even if it's in the winter, I grill outside even in the wintertime. But if you're outside, you could throw it all on the grill. Maybe you've got a grill pan and you could put these onions right on the grill too. But we're going to do them inside today. About 3 tablespoons of olive oil. My skillet's on like medium-high heat. And we're just going to saute these onions up. I got to take a quick break. I'm just going to put these in the skillet. When I come back, we're going to start on the steaks. See you in just a second. Now welcome back. All we did over the break was just put our onions in the skillet. Let's add just a little bit of salt and pepper to that. Now I have another oven heating to 450 degrees because we're going to cook our Parmesan roasted potatoes in that oven. Just add a little bit of salt and pepper to our onions, and we're just going to let them kind of hang out and get golden brown and delicious. So we've got some red potatoes. Now, this is my favorite potato. It's the little red potato. But you could use, baking potatoes, whatever you have would be fine. And I'm going to just do them in little thin slices. And I've got, I don't know, 6 or 7. Just depends on how quickly my pan fills up. This is a very, very healthy way to have French fries. I love French fries, but the deep fried version of it is just a little bit too greasy for me. And this is a wonderful way to have your potatoes. And you could do this particular kind of recipe. This is really a method. You could do this umpteen different ways. Today we're going to be doing them with Italian seasoning and Parmesan cheese, but you could use any kind of seasoning that you wanted. Maybe you were doing a Mexican type thing and you wanted to put just some cumin on there, or maybe some chili powder on your potatoes and roast them. It would be delicious. So this is really one of those recipes that you could customize to flavor any kind of dish that you were cooking, any type of cuisine, whatever you were making. You really could, kind of turn those down just a little bit. You could customize it to anything that you liked. But I happen to love these with the Parmesan cheese on them and a little bit of Italian seasoning. You don't have to put the Italian seasoning if you don't want to, but I like it. And by roasting them in the oven, it's just so much more of a heart-healthy way. And I really do try at times, even though, I use a lot of real butter because I think butter just is better for you. I'd rather use real butter and a less amount of it. And I use a lot of olive oils and things like that because the Mediterranean diet has been proven to be one of the healthiest diets that you can eat. And it has a lot of oils and things like that, the olive oil, heart-healthy olive oil in it. So even though I use a lot of the full-fat cheeses and things like that, it's in moderation, and that's the key. I'm a firm believer, all things in moderation. So if you really enjoy something, eat it, but just don't eat a lot of it. You don't have to just have a ton of butter in everything. All things in moderation. I'm going to sprinkle it with about a tablespoon or so. Remember, it's a dried herb, so we're going to crush it between our fingers. And I believe that'll be plenty enough there. Crush it between your fingers before you put it on your food. We're going to drizzle it with some extra virgin olive oil, about a couple tablespoons, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of freshly cracked pepper. And I'm going to stir this up first. I love fresh ground pepper. If you watch this program much, you see that. My daddy kids me, he says, boy, she really does like the pepper, doesn't she? I said, yeah, I do. My son Austin, he takes it after me. He gets that pepper grinder and covers his food in pepper. If you don't have a pepper mill, I want to encourage you to try to find you one. And a lot of the grocery stores now have those little disposable grinders that you can get the fresh pepper in, and just the flavor is so different than the pre-ground up stuff. So we've got our potatoes here. They're tossed in just a little bit of olive oil and salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning. Let's stir our onions. Look at those onions. I hear them calling my name. Just stir them up. That's what you want. You see that golden brown color that's coming on? That's what you want. That's what you get with a slow roasting in your pan. Just a slow saute. Now, I have got a wedge of fresh Parmesan cheese. Let me get my other microplane out here. And I'm going to just grate some fresh Parmesan cheese over top of my potatoes. And I'm going to put them in the oven and I'm going to roast it. And I've shared with you before, really, you can get a good wedge of Parmesan cheese for just a few dollars. And I have used the same wedge for probably 3 months, and I still have not used it all up. So you know, it's a worthwhile investment, and it really is so much better. The flavor is just so much better than the pre-ground stuff that you can get in a can. There's no comparison in the flavor. So do try to find the fresh wedge of the Parmesan cheese, and we're going to coat these quite liberally actually with this cheese. And this goes into a 450-degree oven. I see one that didn't get very much. Let's get him covered. I could just eat that cheese like that. Let's get this in a 450-degree oven. These will take about 20 minutes in a really hot oven. You want your oven to be good and hot. We'll set that to the side. Now, let's get our steaks going. I have got 3 beautiful bone-in New York strips. Now, my store today had the bone-in steaks, and any time that I can get a bone-in steak, I buy it, because I think the flavor, it adds a sweetness almost to the meat, and it's just yummy. And so I'm going to I've got my grill pan heated, and I'm going to put a little bit of salt and pepper, just a little bit on one side, and then when I flip it, I'll put some on the other side. I'm also going to sprinkle it with just a little bit of grill seasoning, just a steak grill seasoning, which has got some pepper in it. I just don't want to come out. A little bit of garlic, a little bit of coriander, and just lots of different flavors. I'm going to drizzle them with just a little bit of olive oil. I'm also going to just kind of go over my pan just a little bit with some olive oil because I don't want it to stick. So let's get our steaks on our grill pan. Put the seasoned side down, and then you can season the other side. This is a cast iron grill pan that you can find anywhere nowadays. And really, I use a lot of cast iron because I just think it just adds just that caramelization of flavor that you can't get in a regular skillet. So I do use the cast iron for this. A little bit of salt. Now, I don't like my steaks, like I said, I like them kind of medium, maybe a little bit medium well, but I don't want them cooked any more than medium well because then your flavor's gone. It becomes dry and it becomes tough. Those are about 1 inch thick. They will take approximately 5 minutes on each side at the very most. And I'll flip them in just a little bit. I'll turn them. Another, little trick to get those little crisscross marks on it. But we're going to actually slice that and add that to our steak. I'm going to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to make the frosting for the cupcakes, flip the steaks, and get the bread in the oven. I'll be right back with you in just a minute. All right, now we're going to make our cream cheese icing for our wonderful cupcakes that have come out of the oven. They need to cool just a little bit. This is more of a glazy type frosting. I've got 1 block of just cream cheese that I have brought to room temperature. It's just softened. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla, and I'm just going to start whipping that a little bit here, get my cream cheese loosened up. I flipped my steaks. They are yummy and they smell so good. I'm going to add, I've got some half and half, and I'm going to add slowly until it gets to about the consistency that I want. Probably about, I'd say, 1/3 of a cup or so. Add a little more. Turn it up here. And I'm going to add just a little bit, about 1/4 of a cup of powdered sugar. This is one of those times I really just kind of eyeball it till it gets to the consistency that I want, because it does entirely depend upon the humidity in your kitchen for that day. Some days you may need more powdered sugar than other days. But I think that's about right there. You can see the consistency here. One way you can always tell, and that's tasting. So let's get a little spoon and scrape down the sides. You saw how easy that was. And I promise you, there is not a can of cream cheese frosting that you can buy in any grocery store that will even begin to compare with homemade cream cheese icing. And you saw how simple it was. A block of cream cheese, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of half and half or milk, and a little bit of powdered sugar. And that is so good. So very, very good. So we're going to take our cupcakes. Let's check our steaks here first. Let's stir in our onions, and they are done. See how good those look. Look how beautiful and golden. Just delicious. They're done, with the exception of a couple of little ingredients. To my onions, I want to add about 2 tablespoons of butter, softened. And a little bit of steak sauce, just whatever kind you like, about 2 tablespoons or so. And it just adds flavor to your onions. If you don't have steak sauce, maybe you've got some Worcestershire sauce. You could use that too. Just stir all that together, turn your heat off, and your onions are done. Now our steaks are cooking away. I have got 6 rolls, the little seeded rolls. I've just put them here. I'm going to pop these in the oven real quick just so they can get toasty brown for just a couple of minutes. Let's just get those in there. Our potatoes are roasting away. They're yummy looking. These onions smell delicious. Our steaks are cooking. Let's check them. Let's flip them over one more time. They're about done. Let's turn him back. They really are done. And if you've got people that like them different ways, if you wanted a medium, now would be the time to take one off. As a matter of fact, I think I will. Take one of them off now because it would be more medium. And then leave the others on there for like a medium well doneness. Let it rest. Never, never, never cut into a steak as soon as you take it off the grill. All the juices will run out and it will be dry and flavorless. Let's frost a cupcake. Here, take one of your wonderful little cream cheese or apple cupcakes and put just a little bit of cream cheese icing on there. And there you go. There's your apple cupcake. Now our steaks are done. I let it rest and I've just sliced it into little thin pieces. So we're going to make our sandwiches. I've got my bread toasted. So let's just put some of this yummy steak on our sandwich. See how we've just put some pieces on there? Then let's get some of these delicious caramelized onions and put that over top of that wonderful steak sandwich. Our French fries are done. Our Parmesan roasted French fries are done. Let's get that. Let's cut that baby in half. And there you go. The perfect steak sandwich with caramelized onions. We've got some wonderful Parmesan roasted potatoes and our wonderful apple cupcakes with the homemade cream cheese frosting. I hope you try these recipes and I'll see you next time on Everyday Manna.
Thank you for watching Everyday Manna with Lisa. This program is made possible by viewers like you. Your support is continually needed to keep Christian programming on the air. Please send your best financial gift to Living Faith Television in care of Everyday Manna, P.O. Box 1867, Abingdon, Virginia 24212.